At 62, Thomas Reed believed he had finally reached freedom. His retirement account showed $1,200,000. For 37 years, he had watched that number grow slowly. He had skipped vacations, delayed repairs, and accepted every overtime shift. Now the number looked large enough to end the waiting. Thomas printed the statement before sunrise on a Tuesday morning. He placed it beside 2 cups of coffee. His wife, Elaine, sat across from him in silence. Thomas drew a blue circle around the balance. Then he asked the question he had avoided for years. How much money did they actually need to retire comfortably? The account statement could not answer him. It only showed what they had saved. It did not show what their future life would cost. It did not show how long that life might last. Thomas had spent decades building one number. Now he needed to understand everything hiding behind it. He was 62 and managed a regional warehouse outside Columbus. Elaine was 60 and worked at a public library. Their children were grown, but neither child felt fully secure. Their daughter, Rachel, was raising 2 young boys alone. Their son, Michael, had recently opened a small repair shop. Thomas and Elaine still owed $48,000 on their home. Their monthly mortgage payment was $1,100. Thomas believed the mortgage would disappear within 4 years. He treated that future date like a finish line. Elaine treated it like one line on a much longer page. She opened 12 months of bank statements. Thomas opened a spreadsheet he had used for work. Together, they began measuring the life they actually lived. Their current household spending was $78,000 a year. Thomas stared at the total for several seconds. He had expected something closer to $60,000. The missing $18,000 was not one dramatic mistake. It was hundreds of ordinary decisions. The mortgage cost $13,200 each year. Property taxes added another $5,800. Home insurance cost $2,400. Electricity averaged $210 each month. Natural gas averaged $120 each month. Water and sewer averaged $85 each month. Trash service cost another $40 each month. Internet and mobile phones cost $230 each month. Thomas had never considered those bills together before. Separately, each payment felt manageable. Together, they formed the price of simply staying connected and comfortable. Food was the next surprise. Groceries averaged $900 each month. Restaurants and takeout added another $400. Thomas blamed the restaurant spending on work. Elaine reminded him that retirement would not remove hunger. It would only remove the excuse of being too tired to cook. Their 2 vehicles created another large category. Insurance cost $260 each month. Fuel averaged $300 each month. Maintenance added nearly $2,000 each year. Registration and taxes added another $600. One vehicle still had a monthly payment. That loan cost $540 each month. Thomas had planned to replace his truck after retirement. He had not included that decision in his retirement number. The truck was already 9 years old. A replacement could easily cost $40,000. Thomas had imagined retirement without a paycheck. He had not imagined retirement without transportation. Healthcare was the category that changed the mood in the room. Thomas could leave work at 62. His employer coverage would end when his job ended. Public health coverage would not begin immediately. The years between those dates had a price. A private plan for both of them could cost more than expected. Premiums were only the beginning. Deductibles would still exist. Dental care would still cost money. Glasses would still need replacing. Hearing aids might eventually become necessary. Prescriptions could change without warning. Elaine wrote $12,000 beside healthcare. Thomas asked whether that number was too high. Elaine asked whether illness had ever respected a budget. They kept the number. Then they added a separate medical reserve. The reserve would not cover every serious condition. It would prevent one bad year from forcing a desperate sale. Thomas looked again at the account balance. $1,200,000 still looked large. It no longer looked unlimited. The next morning, Thomas checked their expected Social Security income. He had always treated it as a distant promise. Now it became a monthly number with consequences. Claiming early would bring income sooner. Waiting longer could produce a larger monthly benefit. Thomas wanted to retire immediately and claim immediately. Elaine wanted to understand what waiting could buy. They estimated their combined future Social Security income. At one claiming age, the amount looked adequate but tight. At a later age, the amount looked stronger. The difference would continue for the rest of their lives. Thomas suddenly understood that retirement had two separate decisions. One decision was when to stop working. The other decision was when to start claiming benefits. Those decisions did not need to happen on the same day. They estimated $42,000 in annual Social Security income later. Their desired retirement spending was close to $75,000. Their investments would need to supply the remaining $33,000. That difference was their income gap. The income gap mattered more than the size of the account. A person spending $40,000 could need very little from savings. A person spending $100,000 could need far more. Two retirees could hold the same account balance. One could feel secure while the other remained trapped. The difference would be the promises each account had to keep. Thomas used a common starting estimate. He multiplied the annual income gap by 25. $33,000 became $825,000. That calculation suggested their savings might be enough. For a few minutes, Thomas felt a relief returning. Then Elaine moved the property tax bill beside the calculator. Property taxes would not disappear after the mortgage ended. Home insurance would not disappear either. Electricity would probably cost more 10 years from now. Water rates could rise. Food prices could rise. Healthcare costs could rise faster than ordinary expenses. A fixed retirement income would not remain comfortable forever. Inflation was not a dramatic event in their house. It was a slow adjustment to every receipt. They began separating expenses into different groups. Some expenses would fall when Thomas stopped working. Fuel costs would decline. Work clothes would nearly disappear. Lunches near the warehouse would end. Payroll taxes would change after employment ended. Other expenses might remain almost unchanged. Electricity would still run every month. The water bill would still arrive. Property taxes would still be due. Home insurance would still protect the house. Food would still fill the refrigerator. Other expenses might increase after retirement. Travel could rise during the early years. Healthcare could rise during the later years. Home maintenance could become more expensive with age. Paid help might replace work they once did themselves. Retirement was not one stable lifestyle. It was several stages connected by time. They hoped to travel, visit family, and spend more freely at first. Later, travel might decline while healthcare increased. Eventually, convenience and care might matter more than entertainment. Each stage carried a different price. Elaine's mother had lived alone until age 86. Then one fall changed everything. She needed help with meals, bathing, transportation, and medication. The family had shared those responsibilities for 3 years. Thomas remembered the emotional cost. Elaine remembered every dollar. Long-term care was not guaranteed to happen. The possibility still belonged in the plan. They could buy insurance, save a larger reserve, or accept other trade-offs. No option removed uncertainty completely. The goal was not perfect prediction. The goal was avoiding complete financial helplessness. Thomas added a long-term care reserve to the spreadsheet. The new number made him uncomfortable. Elaine told him discomfort was cheaper than denial. The roof entered the conversation next. A contractor had inspected it the previous spring. He said it might last another 3 to 5 years. Replacement could cost $30,000. The heating system was also approaching the end of its life. A new system could cost $12,000. The driveway needed repairs. The refrigerator had begun making a grinding sound. Thomas had treated each problem as a separate future event. Retirement planning gathered them into the same future. They created a home repair reserve of $60,000. They created a vehicle reserve of $40,000. They created a medical reserve of $50,000. These reserves were not annual spending. They were protection against irregular reality. Rachel called 2 weeks later. Her oldest son needed dental work. Her insurance would cover only part of the cost. She asked whether Thomas could lend her $3,000. Thomas said yes before asking Elaine. $3,000 would not destroy their retirement. The automatic answer worried Elaine more than the amount. Thomas had helped both children for years. He paid for emergencies because he could. Retirement would not remove his desire to protect them. It would remove his employment income. They needed rules before the next request arrived. They agreed to create a family support fund. The fund would be meaningful but limited. When the fund was empty, help would take another form. They could offer childcare, advice, meals, or temporary housing. They could not become an unlimited private bank. Thomas disliked placing boundaries around love. Elaine reminded him that financial collapse would help nobody. The family support fund became another promise. It had to fit inside the retirement plan. Their next test involved lifestyle. Elaine suggested they practice retirement before choosing it. For 6 months, they would live on their expected retirement income. Thomas thought the experiment was unnecessary. Their spreadsheet already showed the numbers. Elaine wanted to test their behavior, not their arithmetic. They moved the difference between current income and retirement income into savings. Their daily life had to continue without using it. The first month felt easy. Thomas packed lunch more often. Elaine canceled 2 unused subscriptions. They cooked at home and delayed a weekend trip. The second month felt less comfortable. The truck needed new tires. The electric bill rose during a heat wave. A prescription changed and cost more. Rachel needed help with school supplies. The retirement budget survived, but the margin became thin. The fourth month brought a property tax increase. The fifth month brought a plumbing leak. The sixth month brought an invitation to a family wedding. Flights, hotels, gifts, and clothing cost more than expected. Their retirement test did not fail completely. It revealed how often life ignored averages. Thomas and Elaine revised the annual budget upward. They also added a flexible spending category. Comfort required room for joy as well as emergencies. A plan with no restaurants, travel, or gifts was not realistic. A plan that ignored pleasure would eventually be abandoned. They reduced some costs before cutting everything. Thomas sold the newer vehicle and kept the older truck. Elaine compared home and auto insurance policies. They changed phone plans. They improved the home's insulation. They paid off the remaining vehicle loan. They decided to finish the mortgage before full retirement. These changes reduced their required monthly income. Every permanent expense they removed lowered the pressure on savings. Thomas had always focused on earning more. Retirement planning showed the power of needing less. This did not mean choosing a miserable life. It meant removing expenses that added little happiness. Thomas began testing different retirement dates. Leaving at 62 required private healthcare costs. Leaving at 65 reduced that gap. Working longer also added more savings. It allowed the existing account more time to grow. It reduced the number of years the account must support. It could also increase future Social Security income. Each additional year changed several parts of the plan. Thomas did not want to work forever. He also did not want one extra year to feel like failure. A delayed retirement could buy more than money. It could buy a wider safety margin. Elaine planned to work 2 more years. Thomas chose to move into part-time consulting first. His employer agreed to a reduced schedule. The arrangement lowered his stress. It also preserved some income and health coverage. Thomas discovered that retirement did not require a dramatic exit. It could happen in stages. The part-time year became a bridge. He learned how to spend weekdays without feeling useless. He helped Michael at the repair shop. He began walking every morning. He and Elaine cooked dinner together more often. Then the market fell. The decline began slowly and became frightening. Their retirement account lost more than $160,000. Thomas opened the balance before sunrise each morning. He imagined every future bill arriving at once. He imagined medical costs, repairs, and family emergencies. He wanted to sell everything and move into cash. Elaine placed the printed plan beside the keyboard. Their regular income gap was covered for 2 years. The cash reserve was untouched. The mortgage was almost gone. Their travel spending could be reduced temporarily. Their essential bills were still manageable. The market decline still hurt. It did not require immediate surrender. This was the first real proof that the plan worked. Comfort did not mean avoiding every loss. Comfort meant having time to respond intelligently. Thomas stopped checking the account every morning. He reviewed it once each month instead. The market remained uncertain. Their daily life remained stable. A year later, the roof began leaking after a storm. The repair estimate was $32,000. Thomas felt the old panic rise. Then Elaine opened the home repair account. The money was already waiting for the problem. They paid the contractor without borrowing. They did not sell investments during a weak market. They did not ask their children for help. The account balance fell. Their sense of security did not collapse with it. Thomas understood the purpose of reserves in that moment. A reserve is not wasted money. It is a decision made before fear arrives. The following spring, Elaine needed surgery. Insurance covered most of the procedure. It did not cover every specialist, test, and therapy session. Their out-of-pocket costs reached $9,000. The medical reserve absorbed the expense. The recovery lasted longer than expected. Thomas reduced his consulting work temporarily. Their income fell during the same period. The plan survived both problems together. This mattered more than surviving either problem alone. Real life rarely sends one challenge at a time. Retirement planning must respect combinations. A market decline may happen during an illness. A home repair may happen while helping family. Inflation may rise while investment returns weaken. A strong plan does not assume orderly disasters. It creates room for messy reality. 2 years after the first coffee table calculation, Thomas retired fully. He was 64. Elaine was 62. Their retirement account was not at its highest value. The mortgage was gone. The vehicle loan was gone. Their emergency reserves were funded. Their Social Security claiming strategy was decided. Their healthcare costs had been estimated and tested. Their budget included electricity, water, food, insurance, taxes, and transportation. It included travel, gifts, hobbies, and family support. It included medical care and home repairs. It included the possibility of living longer than expected. It included the possibility of changing the plan. Thomas did not retire because every risk had disappeared. He retired because no single risk controlled the entire future. On his final morning, he woke before the alarm. He reached for his phone and stopped. For 37 years, mornings had belonged to schedules. This morning belonged to him. He walked into the kitchen. Elaine was making coffee beside the same blue-circled statement. The paper had become faded around the edges. The balance printed on it was no longer accurate. The question written beside it still mattered. How much money do you really need to retire comfortably? Thomas once believed the answer was one large number. Now he understood that comfort was built from many smaller numbers. It was the monthly mortgage payment that finally disappeared. It was the property tax that continued after the mortgage. It was the electricity needed during a heat wave. It was the water bill that arrived every month. It was the insurance premium that protected the house and vehicles. It was the medical bill that appeared after surgery. It was the Social Security income that replaced part of a paycheck. It was the investment account covering the remaining income gap. Comfort came from understanding how those numbers work together. The correct retirement number begins with your desired life. Calculate what that life costs each year. Include housing even after the mortgage ends. Include property taxes, insurance, electricity, water, and maintenance. Include groceries, transportation, phones, and internet. Include healthcare premiums and out-of-pocket costs. Include travel, hobbies, gifts, and family responsibilities. Include irregular expenses that do not appear every month. Then subtract reliable income. That income may include Social Security, pensions, or other guaranteed payments. The remaining amount must come from savings and investments. That difference is your income gap. Your account must support that gap for an uncertain number of years. It must also survive inflation and bad markets. It must tolerate illness, repairs, and changing priorities. For one household, $600,000 may be enough. For another household, $1 million may feel tight. A third household may need $2 million or more. The answer depends on spending, age, income, health, housing, and flexibility. The number alone cannot create comfort. A large account can fail under uncontrolled expenses. A smaller account can succeed with reliable income and realistic choices. Retirement is not a contest for the largest balance. It is the purchase of time without constant financial panic. The best retirement number is not the one that impresses strangers. It is the number that pays your real bills. It should cover the ordinary months. It should survive the expensive years. It should let you sleep during a weak market. It should let you repair the roof without borrowing. It should let you visit your family without guilt. It should let you say no to work you no longer need. Most importantly, it should give you choices. Thomas looked at Elaine across the kitchen table. He finally felt the relief he had expected 2 years earlier. The relief did not come from seeing a larger balance. It came from knowing what the balance was designed to do. Before checking your retirement account, write down your future life. Write down the house, the food, the health care, and the people you love. Write down the bills that arrive every month. Write down the risks that arrive without warning. Then calculate the amount needed to protect that life. Your retirement number may be lower than you fear. It may also be higher than you hoped. Either answer is useful when discovered early. The dangerous number is the one you never calculate. How much annual income would make your retirement feel comfortable? Write that number before looking at your savings. The life must come first. Then the money can be given a job.